Hello everyone, my name is Nex, and today I am going to show you how to build a fairly straightforward and fairly simple, albeit not very cheap, hostile mob farm that produces about 4,500 drops per hour, and about 10 stacks of those are gunpowder, since apparently gunpowder is what most people want, since rockets are very popular. And as you can see, this design is not exactly complicated, it is quite large, but that won't be a concern if you are already in need for higher rates of mob drops. And this design, like I said, is pretty straightforward. It's basically just stripes of solid blocks and then buttons on the sides for the spiders to walk off, and glass at head height so that two tall mobs get offset in their spawning and instantly fall down. And that makes for a fairly efficient and not exactly easy to build, but a very worthwhile investment of a general mob grinder. Now this design doesn't use any trident killers, it uses a magma collection platform with minecarts underneath, and before you scream at the amount of powered rails, they are really easy to get with my gold farm that will be linked down in the description, and you can get it in little more than an hour of AFKing time, so it is fairly simple. And the carpet also, of course, is a large component. It's a lot of carpet, but I also have a forced update wool farm, so that is also very easy to get, which will also be linked in the description. And apart from that, it's mostly just solid blocks, buttons, and glass. And yeah, it is a lot of solid blocks, but it is a worthwhile investment. Now all the drops will be put into these hopper minecarts, which will then be unloaded by these hopper minecart unloaders that I have set up right here. They are my own design, and they work pretty well. Of course, you can expand the collection however you may like, but I have just set up like this, and of course you can expand on it whatever way you want. It is pretty straightforward, but I think this is a pretty cool mob farm. And most importantly, as far as I know, so far it's pretty much the only properly working one with a full guide, because 1.14.1 broke some things with bottom slabs and glass, etc., and I will explain. So I've been flying around for a while using my free cam, but my player's actually up there. So we can just go down and look here for a second. And yeah, like I said, this mob farm fully works in version 1.14.1, and it is pretty future-proof. So if it ever breaks, I will tell you down in the comments, but this works as of version 1.14.1 and probably also above. So the reason we are using carpet is that because in version 1.14.1 there has been a new bug that has been introduced, which made it that bottom slabs, if they have no solid blocks or any block above them, so if they just have air above them, basically if they are the highest block in the world, they will block all spawns below them, so nothing will spawn on this X and Z coordinate below them. And that means if we use bottom slabs as our surface layer transfer methods and also our spawn proofing method for the roof, absolutely nothing will spawn. And that is a thing since 1.14.1. In 1.13 they still used to transfer down surface spawns, which is important because with surface spawns you get a lot more rates out of this thing. And by the way, this also affects glass and leaves. Glass and leaves have the issue that, again, just like with the bottom slab, they will block all spawns below them if they are the highest block in the world. And glass, oddly, if they also are the highest block in the world, will spawn mobs on them, but not if they have any block above them, which is really weird. But anyways, yeah, that is the reason why we use carpet on the roof. Now you may be wondering why we are using carpet on top of the magma. Now the carpet on top of the magma is very important, because if a baby zombie spawns on there, there's a very high chance that, well, it doesn't spawn on there, but if it falls down from up there, there's a very high chance that it will not take any damage if on top of the magma. But with carpet on top of the magma, this will completely eliminate that issue, which will be a very great thing, because you definitely don't want these baby zombies sitting there on the magma and not taking any damage and taking up the cap, which will hurt your rates. Our AFK spot is up here because mobs spawn from 24 to 54 blocks away from you, and that will make sure that all the spawning layers are in effect and are actually spawning mobs. And we could technically also position ourselves right here, but that of course is a big disadvantage and not recommended because you might have mobs falling on top of you while you're AFKing there, and first of all, that could blow you up. That could also make it so that the mobs don't actually die, and of course they also may be subjects to killing you, which is also something you don't want, trust me. Now this farm has 48 wide, or rather 48 long spawning strips, and there are 13 rows and 6 columns, so that is a lot of spawning spaces. Some other designs have more spawning spaces, but this is a very effective arrangement and it won't cost as much magma and rails and whatever to collect if we were to use a different shaped setup, so this is a fairly simple setup. It's also important to note that we are using just stripes of spawning layers instead of some other shapes, because previously, before 1.13 in version 1.12, we were able to have very efficient spawning patterns, which would allow the mob still to spawn and instantly get offset and pushed off basically and fall instantly down. However, since 1.13, this has changed and we can't properly use those patterns anymore. So for now, we will just have to contend with lines, and it is fairly efficient either way, even if it's less dense. But anyways, we also have 3 wide gaps between the spawning lines, so that the spiders properly walk off and pathfind down thanks to the buttons, as you may have seen right here. And they fall down most of the time, and that is pretty great. Now, I tested 2 wide gaps, and that didn't work out at all. I mean, sometimes they fell down, but most of the time they just walked over. And since we are not using a trident killer, we are using this magma platform, getting the mobs as quickly off the platforms is important, because we do not have looting 3 to make up for the loss in the time that the mobs would spend in water if we were to use trident killers. So yeah, this is pretty great alternative as well. I don't think trident killers are absolutely necessary for every mob form. Especially in this mob form right here, you don't really want the experience, because for experience, guess what? There is my gold form. So alright, with these core mechanics explained, I think we can get on to building. Now there will be a worlds download for this specific world in the description, and there will also be a full materials list. And of course, like I said, there will be a link to my gold farm, and also a link to my industrial forest update wool farm, because trust me, you will definitely need both of those for this build. But yeah, once you have those, you are going to be able to build a great mob grinder. Now you may notice I have these lines in my world. This is a chunk border visualizer, and due to the way how density caps and checks work, you are definitely going to need this. So what you're going to want to do is go into the description of this video, and there's going to be an invite link to my Discord server. And inside of the Discord server, you will be able to find the chunk border visualizer in the channel MC Resources. So definitely go check that server out. You can also stay for the community. That's what I would do, because it's a very cool place. And we have more than just a pack. But yeah, just go in there, grab the pack, and install it on your device. Now, if you are on console, which means Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch, you will not be able to install this chunk border pack. So what you're going to want to do is go on the website Chunkbase and use any of the given tools, and from there you can enter your coordinate and determine chunk borders that way. So before we build this, we need to understand how mob despawning works so that we can run this farm at maximum efficiency. So basically how despawning works in Bedrock Edition is that if a mob is 54 blocks or more away from you and the light level is over 7, then they will despawn if they have gained persistence. Persistence is gained when, for example, the mob sees you. So yeah, that is a pretty big issue, Because, of course, in water, the water blocks the light, so it gets down to under light level 7, and drowned in there will never despawn. Well, that is until update 1.13, where they changed it only for drowned, so that the requirement isn't light anymore, but daytime. So basically now drowned will despawn if the light level is whatever, since it's underwater, it doesn't have to be over 7. And of course it has to be daytime, and the drowned has not gained persistence. So in order for this farm to run at full efficiency, make sure that you have not made any eye contact with the drowned in your surroundings. And yeah, that might be helpful for despawning in case something goes wrong. But anyways, you are going to want to choose an ocean area that is large enough so that you can have a spot where you are more than 64 blocks away from any land, because under land caves generate, and in those caves there could potentially be mobs that spawn which will take up your cap and drastically lower the rates of this farm, which you do not want. And of course, there can also be mineshafts, which can be under any ocean terrain. There doesn't have to be land. So in order to prevent that, just carefully follow what I say now. So just like I told you, the spawning radius is 24 to 54 blocks spherical from the player, so you're going to want to go up by about 54 blocks from the ground right here. So let's just go up 54 blocks. We are at Y64 right now, so we should just be at Y118 to be 54 blocks up, and that will make sure that when we bridge out, there will be no actual drowned spawning. So we have our little column here, you can put ladders on there, and you are going to want to bridge out, let's say, at least 6 chunks. So a chunk is 16 blocks, of course. So you're going to want to bridge out, and you make sure that you don't load any of the chunks below them. Well, you don't go down there. Chunks are from Bedrock to Y256. So yeah, that is that, but just make sure to not fall down or go down, because drowned will definitely spawn, and if they see you, they won't despawn, which is quite a hassle. So just stay up here for the time being. Oh, and by the way, if you are on a realm with a despawning system that is command block based, you don't have to do any of these steps, because we'll just be able to fly out of range and despawn mobs that way. So once you are up here, you're going to grab yourself a locator map, and you're going to want to locate north. Now north is when the arrow is pointing up, quite obviously. So you got that, and what you're going to want to do now is move either to the left or right and find a chunk corner. So let's just move to the left for a second. And when we see a red line, as you can see right there, there is a chunk corner. This is a intersection of 2 chunk borders, and this is very good. This is exactly what we are looking for. Now we are going to want to make a 48 times 48 platform now. Now the thing is that this is the corner of another chunk, so you're just going to want to place 1 block right there and break that. The red line will disappear, but the chunk border is still between those 2 blocks. Now once you have that, you're going to want to go out by 47. So that block is not included. It will be a total of 48 block. And 48 blocks is 3 chunks, so you should easily see that with the chunk border visualizer. So as you can see, we have 3 chunks right here, and as you can see, I am still facing north, which is good. And now go to either of those ends and expand by 47 as well. Now once you got those 2 lines set up, you're just going to want to make a full platform out of it, which is fairly straightforward. Alright, so we got our 3x3 chunk platform right here, and this is very good. So now we're going to want to expand it. So again, take your locator map and locate north, and what you're going to want to do is expand 8 on each side. So you're just going to want to go out by 8 right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And of course on that side as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And once you got that, of course, fill out the rest. It should make a square again. Alright, we got our pretty big platform right here. Now you're still going to take your locator map and you're going to want to decide on which side your collection system is going to be. So it's either going to be on the west or east side. For the sake of this tutorial, we're going to choose the east side. So what you're going to want to do is expand this by 1. And I'm doing this on the east side. And on that side, that's where there's going to be the collection system. Now that we expanded this platform, we're going to build the minecart unloaders. Again, on the east or west side, you're going to take the longer ones where there's 9 blocks out from that chunk border. And without falling down entirely, you are going to want to place some chests. So you can either do it like this and have the hoppers facing like this. This will be quite a bit easier if you're in survival. Or, because I am creative, you can build it like this. I'm just going to do it like that. Next up, you're going to want to place 2 temporary blocks right here and place the fence gates on top. Now, we are going to do this now because later you can't place them on top of rails due to weirdness of Bedrock Edition. Next, place 2 blocks like this so that we can place the comparators reading from those hoppers. Put 2 blocks like that in front of the comparators. And what you're going to want to do now is place 2 more salt blocks. Place rails like this. 1 powered rail, more rails like this, and 1 more powered rail. You can keep those because we're going to use them later again. Remove those. Have 2 pistons facing up on the back side of that salt block, or those salt blocks. 2 redstone blocks like that. Place more salt blocks just like this, and you're going to want to take your 2 repeaters and put some torches there, and that will be your minecart unloader, and this is where all of your storage will end up. Now you're going to repeat this at the 3 other chunk border intersections. So we got our 4 hopper minecart unloaders built in the exact spots of the chunk border intersections, just like I described. Now what you're going to want to do is place the rails and do just as I do. So for this side you're going to want to go outwards, so towards the outside of the platform, and just place rails going back and forth, and that is fairly straightforward. And I'm of course using a lot of powered rails, and if you for some reason have more iron than gold, which would be weird on Bedrock Edition, you can also leave some out and replace some powered rails with normal rails. But since my gold farm produces an insane amount of gold per hour, I definitely recommend using powered rails because gold is much easier to get than iron. But anyways, what you're going to want to do is make the setup like this, so going back and forth. So once you arrive at the end, which is right here, which should always be on the same side as the hopper minecart unloaders, it will be just like this, and what you're going to want to do is go up by 1 block. Now this is very simple. You are always going to want to go away from the chunk border and repeat just as I did right now. So if you build it properly, it should look like this. On the side opposite to the minecart unloaders, there should only be curved rails. And on the side of the minecart unloaders, you will see that there are always 6 curved rails in between the minecart unloaders and those minecart rebound points. So I'm just gonna quickly go over it so you can see what it looks like, and in case you did something wrong, you can just go back in this video to this point and check if you did everything correctly like I did. And this is north, by the way. Now what you're going to want to do now, and this might be a little tough in survival, but those rails need to be powered somehow, you're going to want to go to the other side of this platform. Now you're going to want to go right to this chunk border right here, and on the side that is facing the minecart unloaders, of course it will be on the right side, we can place a row of levers. Now before I place all of it, just for demonstration, if I flick this lever right here, as you can see, this rail will be powered. But if I put it 1 block offset, this will not be powered, so you definitely need to place it right here. So just place that row, and you can activate all of them later once we also get the different rows in. But for now, just place a row going across the entire underside of the platform. Now we're going to repeat the process for those 3 remaining chunk borders. So if you did it properly, it will be the red line because we are facing north right here, or south if you build this on the other side. But either way, you're going to pick the side that's closer to the minecart unloaders of the chunk border and place levers in rows right here. I'm just going to place them right here, just so you can see which the placements are. And as you can see, this will power the entire line of powered rails. So again, on each red chunk border, pick the side closer to the actual minecart unloader and put levers there in rows. And once you get all those levers placed in, you are going to have to flick each single one of them. I know this is a pain, but you have to do it. So once you get all of those levers flicked, you will notice that every single powered rail is actually powered, which is a very good thing. So once you got that platform set up, you are going to want to cover this entire platform of rails with magma. Now, I recommend wearing Frostwalker boots if you are playing around with magma, because otherwise it's going to hurt a little. Of course, you can stand on the rails while placing them, but the last row will be a little hard. Either way, cover this entire thing, so that means that block from that block to that block, and don't cover anything with the minecart unloaders, just like that. Now that's a big, bright and fancy magma platform, but you're going to have to cover it in carpet. Before you cover it in carpet, just go to those spots and put some carpet on top of there, so that no mobs spawn on there, because it will definitely happen if you don't do it. And what you're going to want to do now is just cover the entire magma platform in carpet. Now remember, this is a lot of carpet, so you're definitely going to want to build the wool farm that I have linked down in the description. So now that you have covered this in carpet, congratulations, the first part of your mob grinder is complete. And if you want to take a break, I would do it now, because the next steps are going to be not easy as well. Now on the side where the minecart unloaders are, which is the longer side, so it goes on 9 blocks from the chunk border right here, you are going to want to go right here. So as you can see, this is of course 8 blocks from that side and 8 blocks from that side, and you're going to want to go up by about 30 blocks. So once you are up here, we are about 30 blocks up, you're going to want to go out by 47, which will make this stripe a total of 48 blocks long. Now this will be our spawning platform, so all the mobs will spawn on there. And yeah, 48 blocks is just 3 chunks long, which is pretty good. Now, of course, you're going to want to go by 4 blocks like that. I don't know why these blocks are ghosting. And you're going, basically that is the 3 block spacing between the platforms. Now, we're just going to do this until we have 13 of those blocks. Now, as you can see, we have 13 stripes that we can build, so that one is already built, but you're going to want to make each one a stripe. Now, once you got those stripes of solid blocks set up, I recommend you count again, that is 13, and there should be one in the center right here. But anyways, what you're going to want to do is place stripes of buttons on either side. Don't place any buttons right here, you don't need them, although you can, but they are not included in the materials list. Just place buttons on both sides of each strip, so this is going to be a lot of work. Now once you got all those buttons placed in, you're going to want to take your glass or leaves, either work, and you want to go up by 1, back that one, and then just make a stripe of glass right on top of those solid blocks. And of course repeat that for every single one of the stripes. Now there we go, that is our first spawning platform complete. Now I know you're going to hate to hear me say this, but you're going to repeat that 5 times. So you're going to have a total of 6 spawning layers. And the way you continue this is basically just have this on top, and then of course on top of that, the buttons and the glass. And just repeat that 5 times so that you have 6 total spawning layers. So it probably took you an eternity, but there you go, congratulations, you have 6 total spawning layers. What we're going to do now is build the roof for this farm. Now on either corner of these glass straps, you're going to want to place one block and then go out by 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then once again 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now quite simply go to the opposite side and do the same. One block, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now simply fill out this entire platform with solid blocks, and after that, of course, we're going to cover it with carpets. So all of that is covered in solid blocks. Now I can just put carpet on top of each one of those blocks. Hang on tight everybody, we're almost done. Now I have the difficulty set to peaceful for this right here, but if I just put it to hard, we will already see mobs spawning sooner or later. A second, unless I turn mob spawning off. Oh, there we go. So we're already getting mobs, and at that point what would be a good idea is to go down there and put one hopper minecart in each of those rails. So one right here, one right here, one, and one for a total of 8 hopper minecarts. And those are going to start collecting everything from down there. Now we're going to set up our AFK spot. Now this AFK spot has to be the one I show you, because otherwise the spawning sphere might not be aligned with the spawning spots that we have in place right here. So just do as I say. Now you're going to want to go to the center chunk right here and just go out 8 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you can remove those blocks, and that will be one of your center 4 blocks of that chunk right here. Now you're going to want to go up by 23. That one is already included. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 23. And from there, just place some slabs, some upper slabs. It's important that they're top slabs and not glass or leaves or bottom slabs, because those will completely block the spawns below them, which will make you lose some spawning spaces. You can remove the solid blocks and then place the 4th one as another top slab. Now, I don't actually know if top slabs also block spawns like bottom slabs do, so just in case you can put some buttons on top, because that will make the bug non-existent. And that is your AFK spot. Now, if you are going to want to prevent yourself from being attacked by phantoms, just make yourself a little thing like this. This will transfer the surface spawns down so you can still get the maximum rates, and of course protect you from phantoms. So if you do that, you can remove those buttons actually. And that will be your AFK spot. Now how you get to this AFK spot is mostly up to you. I recommend just elytras and rockets, but if you do not have those, why are you building this farm? Now congratulations, you deserve an award because you just built this massive hostile mob farm. Now you could definitely go bigger, but I think this is a pretty good size for what it does. Again, 4,500 drops per hour. Now if you are having issues with mobs not spawning, there are multiple things that could have happened and multiple fixes. So first of all, if you got too close to the ocean, that means lower than this collection platform right here, there could have potentially been drowns that spawned down there. Now these drowns will despawn if you never made eye contact with them, but if they have made eye contact with you, or done things like attack other mobs or something, then they will not despawn and they will take up cap and will slow down your spawning. So what you can do to fix that is just take your difficulty and set it to peaceful. Now this may not be an option if you are in a multiplayer realm. The second problem that could happen is mostly that if you are on a multiplayer realm, there might be other mobs loaded by other players that are in an area outside of this that might interfere. So there's of course the surface and the cave cap for the hostile mobs, and those are pretty much the main cap that will be affecting your mob farm, but there also is the global cap. So there can be a total of 200 mobs at the same time inside the world, and if there are 200 or more, then mobs will just stop spawning. So make sure that there are no other players online if you want this at max efficiency, because otherwise there will definitely be other mobs loaded. And yeah, if you don't have the permission to peaceful cycle, so if you are not on single player or if you are not the realm owner, what you can do as well is go out 64 blocks from each side of this platform and light everything up in that area with sea pickles. That of course is very, very, very expensive and quite a lot of work, but it will work and it will completely cancel all drown spawns, and it will despawn all drowns that are already in there. Well, technically they already do with daylight. Excuse me, I meant daytime. So another thing you can have is set up a despawn system using command blocks on your realm. Although that will disable achievements if you don't know how to re-enable them using Universal Minecraft Editor or MCC Tool Chest, but that's a story for another video. Some few systems that I can recommend are Slack Lizards and Silent Whisperers. Those worked pretty well, I heard. But again, that is not very vanilla, and yeah. What can potentially also happen is that there could be mine shafts under this ocean. So if you do light it up with sea pickles, there could still be mine shafts that you need to light up, and that is quite a hassle to deal with. So my recommendation is just don't get close to the ocean down below. That way no drown will spawn and everything will work fine. So to get to and from this farm, make sure you don't get too close to the ocean, which should be around 54 blocks above the ocean. And of course, make sure that you do that in a 64 block distance from that platform. So you're going to just want to go out by 64 blocks on that height or whatever height. And then I suppose you can drop down. But do keep in mind that from here there will also be spawning affected like this. So just make sure to stay at a high enough altitude and then go out far enough and then drop down, and that will basically ensure that no drown spawn. So to summarize, the two most easy options of getting this mob farm to work again is first off switching to peaceful. You may not have the permissions, or asking your fellow realm or server players if they have mobs loaded, because that will definitely interfere. So that's pretty much the entire tutorial. Now again, as I said, there is a world download in the description as well as a full materials list, and there also are links to my amazing gold farm and my forced update wool farm. You are definitely going to need both of those for the high amount of powered rails and carpets. Now, with that being said, I would like to thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you got a ton of use out of this farm. Make sure to check out my Patreon page and maybe consider supporting me, because as you can see, this thing is kind of huge and I put a lot of time into this video. This recording is already over an hour and a half long, so this will be quite a pain to edit. And of course, make sure to subscribe, because I keep interesting and useful tutorials for Bedrock Edition like this one coming out on a regular basis, and I think you will find them very interesting and enjoy them. And of course, I also have a Discord server. It's a nice place to hang out. This is also where you will find the chunk border pack, but that is pretty much everything there is to say about the Discord server. With that being said, again, thanks so much for watching. My name is Nex, and bye bye.